So going back to highlighting the problems of this dress, this is the back. Now the back, 10 inches from the armhole or the armpit, it should be quite wide to incorporate what the bottom size should be or what the hip size should be. Now this in actual respect should have been a lot wider, probably about 3 inches, 4 inches, at least 2.5 inches on either side is what it requires to be extended 10 inches down from the top. So what I'm going to do is add the fabric on both the lining and the dress to widen it to the hip point and then try and reassemble it back, because without extending it, so when you're cutting out, then let's just give a slight bit of a description what exactly we're doing. Marker. The kind of dress this is it has like a, then it has an armhole and then it's curved. So that point, from that tip of the armhole to that point, it should have started widening up for this area, and what basically it has is there's no widening on the buttock area, so it's more like fairly straight, and what I'm going to have to do is add extension of pieces on either side to extend the hips. On the bust area and the top is fine, but because it was so tight on the hip area, it would not actually even go further past that. So when you're cutting, generally a rule of advice is that the back panel is actually wider on, is smaller on the chest area around here, but it's wider on the buttock area. On the dress at the front, it's wider on the bust area, but it's smaller on the hip area. So if you look at a person in general, just as a standard guidance, what you're looking at is this area. That area you've got wide at the front, but smaller at the back. But in this area, you've got, incorporating the buttocks, you've got wider at the back, but smaller at the front. I think here in this dress, most likely there has been a mix-up of the panels. Unfortunately, since it's come from so far away, there is nothing that she could do except to try and find a remedy. So what we've tried to do is make it, to alternate it to the best of my ability to actually get her into it. So the leftover pieces are these net pieces, and what I'm going to do now is with this net, I'm going to cut the extension or the add-on so that the hip area can be widened using this net. Now because it's partly assembled and there's so many pieces that are assembled, it can become a little bit confusing. I've tried to take it apart as little as possible, because otherwise trying to reattach this back, especially the way the neckline and so on has been done, is virtually impossible. So that will actually suffice. We need exactly identical pieces from the silk as well. Both the silk is a double layer, as I mentioned earlier. It's got 2 layers of the silk, so what we're going to have to do is to try and cut 2 and attach those